the pipeline bypassing the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is not officially closed, but for some of the world's largest shipping companies, it might as well be. Every single day, nearly 20% of global oil consumption passes through this narrow stretch of water between Iran and Oman. But right now, this critical artery is breaking down. Tankers are being disrupted. Shipping routes have become entirely unpredictable. Marine insurance premiums are surging to unsustainable levels. The world is waking up to a terrifying reality. The entire global economy is far too dependent on a single point on the map. But there is an exception. While the rest of the world scrambles, the United Arab Emirates has already built a backdoor. It is a 370-kilometer steel artery that completely bypasses the Persian Gulf, rerouting millions of barrels of oil straight to the open waters of the Indian Ocean. It is called the Habshan-Fujairah pipeline, and right now it is being battle-tested in the exact geopolitical nightmare it was designed for. To grasp why this pipeline is an engineering and strategic marvel, you have to look at the map. The UAE's most massive oil fields are located deep inland in Abu Dhabi. For decades, crude from these fields was pumped to export terminals inside the Persian Gulf. This meant every single drop of oil had to navigate the Strait of Hormuz. At its absolute narrowest, this choke point is just 21 miles across, with navigable shipping lanes squeezed to just a few miles wide. Roughly 20 million barrels of crude flow through this bottleneck every single day. It is the beating heart of global energy, but it is also the ultimate pressure point. On one side are the Gulf states. On the other side is Iran. During times of peace, the system functions. But during times of conflict, it becomes the world's biggest vulnerability. For Tehran, control over the strait has always been its most powerful strategic lever, a way to hold global energy markets hostage without triggering a direct military confrontation. The UAE realized this dependency was a ticking time bomb. If the front door was a geopolitical trap, they needed to build another exit. The solution was to push their oil east, completely bypassing the Gulf and routing it directly to the coast of the Gulf of Oman. The result is the Habshan-Fujairah pipeline, also known as AD-COP. Completed in 2012 at a staggering cost of over $3.3 billion, it stretches roughly 370 kilometers across the country. At its core is a massive 48-inch steel pipe capable of transporting 1.5 million barrels of crude oil per day, with the mechanical ability to surge up to 1.8 million barrels in a crisis. But carving this route was an absolute engineering nightmare. The pipeline cuts across some of the most unforgiving terrain on the planet. It starts in the deep desert, battling extreme heat, remote conditions, and shifting sands. Then it has to conquer the Hajar Mountains, a rugged wall of solid rock standing between the oil fields and the sea. Because oil does not flow uphill, an advanced network of massive industrial pumping stations acts as the system's heartbeat, maintaining extreme pressure to push the crude across the landscape. Along the entire route, highly sensitive fiber optic monitoring systems track the flow in real time, detecting leaks or sabotage instantly. At the end of the line sits Fujairah. Over the last decade, this port city has quietly transformed into one of the most critical energy superhubs on Earth. The UAE constructed a sprawling network of massive storage tanks here, capable of holding tens of millions of barrels of crude. These tanks act as a massive buffer, ensuring ships can keep loading even if the pipeline upstream faces a temporary disruption. The true innovation, however, happens offshore. Advanced subsea loading systems and single-point mooring buoys allow massive supertankers to load millions of barrels of oil directly in deep water. No traffic jams, no bottlenecks, just a straight, uninterrupted connection from the pipeline to the global market. But there is a catch. Right now, Fujairah is also the system's greatest vulnerability. In recent weeks, amid the escalating March 2026 Middle East crisis, drone strikes have targeted the area, causing fires at pumping stations and temporarily disrupting loading operations. It proves a fundamental rule of geopolitics. You cannot completely eliminate risk in global trade. You can only relocate it. Even running at maximum surge capacity, this pipeline handles roughly 1.8 million barrels per day. That is significant, but it is still only a fraction of the 20 million barrels that normally traverse the Strait of Hormuz. Even when combined with Saudi Arabia's east-west pipeline, the world remains deeply exposed to a Hormuz shutdown. Furthermore, A 370-kilometer pipeline is a massive fixed target. Iran has previously signaled that alternative infrastructure is well within its striking range. In response, the UAE has surrounded the pipeline and the port with heavily layered defenses. This includes advanced THAAD anti-missile batteries, close coordination with U.S. Central Command, and a French naval presence operating directly out of Fujairah. What the UAE has built is often described as resilience. But true resilience requires two things: redundancy, having more than one route, and robustness, making each route incredibly hard to disrupt. This pipeline delivers the first, but recent events show that if the backup route is also vulnerable, the entire system is still exposed. The UAE did not solve the Strait of Hormuz problem. They simply built a highly defended detour around it. Right now, that decision is proving its immense value, not as a total replacement, but as an essential lifeline. In a world built on fragile choke points, we haven't eliminated the risk, we have just moved it. And as the world begins to shift toward new forms of energy, a massive question is emerging. Will billion-dollar mega-infrastructure like Fujairah eventually become stranded assets of a bygone oil age? Or will they serve as the highly fortified foundation of the next global energy system?